Hi everybody, I'm Sarajane and welcome to Album Analysis. Today we're going to be actually talking about a musical movie, and I mentioned it a little bit in one of my previous videos in the Burt Reynolds video, but this movie is called At Long Last Love, and this movie came out in 1975 and it did not have great reviews. In fact, people called it one of the 50th worst movies ever made. In a book that was published around that time. But I think they got it wrong. So let's talk about At Long Last Love, a movie that you should check out if you can. It's currently available on Blu-ray. There's also some versions of it floating around the internet, but they're not great quality and some of them don't have the whole movie. So I'd say if you're interested, chip in with a friend and get the Blu-ray because you probably won't regret it if you like this kind of movie. So let's dive in. What is At Long Last Love about? This is a movie that is built around a number of Cole Porter songs. I believe it's about 18 Cole Porter songs. And if you don't know who Cole Porter was, well, I don't know what to tell you. He was a songwriter in the 20s and 30s and 40s, I believe, who, definitely 20s and 30s, who wrote for I think 200 musicals or something crazy like that. This guy was writing all the time. And one of the things about the fact that he wrote so many songs is sometimes his songs will be transplanted from one musical to another. So I wanted to go through each of the songs in At Long Last Love and talk about where the origin of the song was and maybe some other places where it's popped up and how it may be different in At Long Last Love. Let's also talk briefly about our cast in At Long Last Love, because if we don't talk about our cast, the rest of this is not really going to make any sense. So technically this film stars Cybil Shepherd and Burt Reynolds, and the supporting cast is Madeline Kahn and Joël Dupret. I apologize if I pronounced Mr. Dupret's name incorrectly, but I haven't seen a really good pronunciation of it anywhere, so I'm doing my best. But all four of them really have equal parts in the movie, and then the supporting cast is Eileen Brennan and John Hillerman. And this was directed by Peter Bogdanovich, who's also done movies like What's Up Doc, Paper Moon, The Last Picture Show, and some other stuff too. Lots of other stuff. And so basically, Mr. Bogdanovich decided I'm going to do basically like a love letter to the 1930s Broadway musical. And he did. So kind of similar to how Quentin Tarantino said, I want to make a love letter to 1960s cinema, and he made Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Same kind of idea here, except with more singing and dancing and less car chases and murder. So let's dive right in. Who plays who in At Long Last Love? Well, first of all, our man Burt Reynolds plays Michael Oliver Pritchard, who is a rich, unaffected, bored millionaire guy. He's rich, he doesn't really do anything with his time, that's him. And then there's Cybil Shepherd, who plays Brooke Carter, who she used to be rich, but now is not anymore because her family lost most of their money in the crash. But her mother still has some money, but her mother ran off to Brazil and sends her money every so often, but hasn't sent her any money in a while because she's busy off in Brazil. So she's kind of the one who has the title and the aristocracy, but not necessarily the money. Then Madeline Kahn plays Kitty O'Kelly, whose real name was Catherine Crumb when she was growing up. And she is the one who has a little bit of money, but not necessarily the prestige because she's a Broadway actress. And then there is Joël Dupret, who plays, well, his real name we find out in one scene is John Espinola, but he goes by Johnny Spanish. Listen, I didn't name him, that's his name in the movie. And he is an Italian gentleman from Italy who he has the appearance of being rich, but actually isn't. And he generally gets most of his money via gambling, horse races, stuff like that, but it seems like he generally tends to lose the money as soon as he gets it, as is the nature of the fickle sport of gambling. So that's our oh, and then, I forgot about Eileen Brennan plays, blanking on her name, but Beth. She plays Beth, who is they call her the companion to Brooke Carter. She's kind of like her maid slash confidant type of deal. And then John Hillerman plays Rodney, who is Michael's butler. Alright, so let's dive into the songs, shall we? So the first song in the Blu-ray cut of At Long Last Love is Down in the Depths on the 90th Floor. This song is sung by Kitty, played by Madeline Kahn. And this song, I say this is the first song in the Blu-ray cut because apparently the television cut, which was the cut that most people had seen for a while, cut this song. It's also not on the soundtrack, oddly enough. So this, it got left on the cutting room floor. I'm not sure why, because it's a very good song. Maybe it's because it introduces Madeline's character first when the billing is that, Cybil Shepherd is the female lead. I don't know, that's just my best guess. And so this song, Down in the Depths of the 90th Floor, I was not previously familiar with before this movie, but it comes from a musical called Red, Hot, and Blue, which is from 1936. And I got the description of this musical from, I've not heard of this musical before either, and I got this description from Wikipedia, and it sounds pretty wild. The description says, again, credit to Wikipedia, Nels O'Reilly Duquesne is a newly wealthy young widow. Loud and brassy, Nels is a former manicurist. She organizes a benefit for her favorite cause, the rehabilitation of ex-convicts. Together with her sidekick and ex-con himself, Policy Pinkle, and her square boyfriend, lawyer Bob Hale, she embarks on a nationwide search for Bob's old girlfriend, which is really the reason for the enterprise. The girlfriend 18 years earlier had sat on a hot waffle iron and still had a unique imprint. However, the national lottery that Nels starts gets the attention of the finance committee and they wind up in Washington, D.C. in an even more complicated situation. The Supreme Court declares the lottery unconstitutional because it would benefit the people. Now this sounds like a pretty weird musical. I'm not sure how often people do this musical. I've never seen it done anywhere. But if you're looking for something to, do for your, high school, college, community theater that's a little bit racy, but probably not too because it was 1936. Looks like an interesting choice, and we know it's got at least one good song in it, so. And the context of this opening song is that Kitty is coming back from a night out drinking with her date, and her date leaves, and she's upset about kind of the aimlessness of kind of society life, and that's generally the idea of that song. So that's how we meet Kitty. We kind of get that she's got this sort of glamorous life, but she's not really happy with it, that she kind of wants something more, that she's feeling empty. Then we meet our next main character, Johnny Spanish. Again, I didn't name him, that's his name. And he does a song called Tomorrow, not to be mistaken with the song Out of Annie. I know you're all thinking it. This song, Tomorrow, again, I had not heard the song before, At Long Last Love. This song was from a musical called Leave It to Me from 1938. And this song, in the context of At Long Last Love, Johnny sings when he is gambling with a bunch of folks, and then he goes out and he's kind of like celebrating the day. He's like buying a newspaper from the newsstand. He's kind of, going around New York kind of doing his thing. So the description for this musical is, in the late 1930s, aging businessman Alonzo Stinky Goodhue has become the American ambassador to the Soviet Union. This job was secured for him by his social climbing wife Youre, who helped to fund Franklin Roosevelt's re-election campaign. However, Stinky has no desire to live in Russia. He is longing for the pleasures of his home in Topeka, Kansas, especially banana splits. He hopes his tenure as an ambassador will be a short one. Meanwhile, an ambitious newspaper reporter, Buckley J. Buck Thomas, is employed to discredit Goodhue by his publisher, who wants to be the ambassador himself. When Thomas and Goodhue realize they both have the same aims, they work together. Goodhue plans to make major diplomatic gaffes, which will be publicized by Thomas. Alright, he delivers an inflammatory speech praise Hale for his courage. Alright, this is a really long description. Basically, he sabotages his ambassadorship on purpose, and then this other guy becomes an ambassador and he gets to go back to Topeka. That's basically, I don't know. Are these descriptions even real? These sound like really weird musicals. Anyway. But yes, that's Leave It to Me for better or worse. That's the plot of it. And that's where Tomorrow originates. And again, in Along This Love, this song it's Johnny's song. And that's how we meet Mr. Johnny Spanish. Alright, then next up, the next song is called Witch, and this is where we meet our leading lady, Cybil Shepherd, and in the TV cut, this is the first song in the musical. So they cut like everything that happened before Witch. In the TV version, which I haven't seen, I did see a clip of the TV version, but this is the one that a lot of times most people saw, and I guess the version that a lot of people didn't really like. So again, I can't really judge the TV version, but because I haven't seen it. Anyway, so this song, Witch, is sung by Brooke as she comes in after like a day out of hanging around and doing socialite type stuff. And this is from Wake Up and Dream. And Wake Up and Dream was a review with 24 sets, 500 costumes, a large international cast, and a thread of a book, as Wikipedia quotes someone else doing. And it doesn't really talk that much about Witch, other than that it's just from this review initially. So that is, so this might be the most well-known instance of this song. And basically it's just kind of Brooke thinking about her life, kind of similarly to how Kitty is doing in Down in the Depths at 90th Floor. Whereas instead of feeling empty, Brooke is kind of filled with possibilities, but she's indecisive. So that's where we not only meet Brooke, but we also meet Beth, played by Eileen Brennan, who's kind of trying to be the voice of reason, while Brooke is kind of like, I could go off and do anything. Alright, and then it's time to meet everyone's favorite actor, at least one of mine, Mr. Burt Reynolds as Michael Oliver Pritchard. We meet Michael Oliver Pritchard driving in his car, singing the song Poor Young Millionaire, explaining that he, just like kind of everybody else, he doesn't really know what to do with his future. He's like done all this stuff, he has all this money, but it's not really bringing him excitement. He's just bored. I mean, it's a nice problem to have, but you know. And this song is an independent song. It was not featured in any kind of musical, so I guess it was in the songbook, and Peter Bogdanovich is like, let's use it. But it doesn't originate from anywhere else, so I guess the origin of Poor Young Millionaire ends up being in A Long Last Love. So, and then he crashes his car into Kitty O'Kelly, and that is how he meets his first love interest in the show, because he's hanging out of his car, like kind of standing outside of it, and then Kitty steps out into the street and he knocks into her. So, but then, you know, they meet and they're over it pretty quick. Alright, then we've got our first love song of the show, and probably one of the more well-known songs. This is one of the ones that I knew going into the movie. We've got You're the Top, which Michael and Kitty sing to each other as they're drinking wine and just hanging out in, I believe, Michael's apartment. And this song originates from Anything Goes, which is a musical that I not only am familiar with, but I was actually in back in high school, which is basically, if you're not familiar with Anything Goes, which you really should be, it's basically 4 people, but 2 people are supposed to get, well, there's Reno, who's in love with Billy, but Billy's in love with Hope, and Hope is supposed to marry Evelyn, but Evelyn likes Reno. And that's kind of all you need to know. There's a lot of mistaken identity, there's gangsters, there's shenanigans. It's basically a lot of shenanigans, and most of it all takes place on a boat. And there's also a lot of references to Yale. So that's Anything Goes. This was the origin of You're the Top, and in Anything Goes, it's sang by Reno and Billy, because Reno is trying to, like, give Billy confidence to go after Hope, even though she likes Billy. And in A Long Last Love, it's just Michael and Kitty sing it, and the parts are reversed because Michael sings the part that Reno would sing in Anything Goes, and Kitty sings the part that Billy would sing in Anything Goes, so it's a little bit swapped. It's really cute. This one, there's a there is a video of it on YouTube if you want to see it. If if you're a fan of Madeline Kahn or Burt Reynolds, or you're just kind of curious, there's a nice quality version of this floating around. So that is You're the Top. And we get our first kind of romantic pairing of the show. Then we also get a little reprise of You're the Top between Johnny and Brooke, because they've also met. They met at the horse track, and they've kind of, even though at first they were kind of insulting each other, now they've sort of fallen for each other, and they really like each other too. So we have both of our initial couples have now paired off in this song. Then Michael and Brooke and Johnny all end up going to Kitty's performance on Broadway, where she sings this song called Find Me a Primitive Man. And the origin of this song was 50 Million Frenchmen in 1929, where we've got the description. This from Wikipedia is: Peter Forbes, a young American millionaire, journeys to Paris and bets his friends Billy Baxter and Michael Cummins that he can live without his money for a month, and while doing so, get engaged to Lulu Carroll, a young woman he adores. She is in Paris with her parents and her best friend Joyce. The catch is that Peter has 1 month until July 4th to throw their engagement party at the Chateau Madrid. Trying to woo Lulu, while penniless, he endures humiliation. His first job is as a tour guide, but much to his dismay, he has caught the eye of Violet Hildegard, a fur buyer who sends risque French postcards to her children. An aspiring singer, May de Vere, also becomes interested in Peter. Since Peter has no time, Lulu and Billy have begun flirting. Anyway, as you may have guessed, that's because it's a Cole Porter musical. At the end, everyone ends up with who they're supposed to be with. I'm not familiar with this one either, but it basically sounds kind of similar to Anything Goes, except with more Paris and less nautical. So basically they go to see Kitty perform the song, and then at the end they realize Brooke and Kitty had gone to public school for a while together, because Brooke's mother sent her to public school to, like, I don't know, get her more humble or something like that, and there she met Kitty and they were really good friends. So they start their friendship over again, which brings us into the next song. Friendship, which they sing. Everyone is in this song. We've got Kitty, we've got Michael, we've got Johnny, we've got Brooke, we've got Beth, and we've got Rodney. And they're all driving around singing the song. They decide to go to the Sound with Michael and spend the weekend together, because why not? They got nothing better to do. And the original origin of this song was from Do Barry Was a Lady from 1939, but this song was also used in Anything Goes as a song between Reno and Moonface Martin. So this is an example of one of those songs that Cole Porter, he liked it, and then he kind of transplanted it from one musical to another. So the description of Do Barry Was a Lady, which a couple of these songs that are coming up were also from, it says, a washroom attendant, Louis Bloor. So Hi everybody, so I ended up doing this video in two parts because I got distracted with the holidays and everything, and I'm sad to say that in between doing part one and then the second part of the video, Peter Bogdanovich actually died, so I would like to just say rest in peace, we will miss you, and next time I'll try not to take as long in between videos and make sure everyone stays living while I do the video. So anyway, the next song in Long Last Love is Friendship, and Friendship, I know the song from Anything Goes, where Moonface Martin and Reno Sweeney sing the song, but its origin was in Du Barry Was a Lady, which was a musical that came out in 1939, and I found this description of this musical on Wikipedia, and I'm going to quote it verbatim. I did not make this up. This is possibly the weirdest plot for a musical I've ever heard in my entire life. So get ready, strap in, it's going to be a bumpy ride. So this is from Wikipedia. A washroom attendant, Louis Bloor, has won a sweepstakes and subsequently quits his job. He is in love with a nightclub singer, May Daly, but she is in love with Alex Bardem. Alex is the brother of her friend Alice, who is in love with Harry Norton. Meanwhile, Alex is unhappily married to Anne. Charlie, Louis' replacement, suggests that Louis slip Alex a Mickey Finn. While trying to do so, Louis inadvertently drinks the Mickey Finn, falls asleep, and dreams he is King Louis XV of France and that May is Madame du Barry. In his dream, Charlie becomes the Dauphin, later Louis VI, and Harry becomes the captain of the guard with Anne as du Barry's lady-in-waiting, and Alex as a peasant who wrote a rude song about the king and du Barry. The title song, Du Barry Was a Lady. Eventually, after various entanglements, including the Dauphin shooting the king in the posterior with a bow and arrow, Louis wakes up and realizes that Alex is the man for May. He uses the last of his winnings to pay for Alex's divorce from Anne, and with Charlie having just quit his job, goes back to being a washroom attendant. So I don't know the context of Friendship in Du Barry Was a Lady, but in At Long Last Love, all of the main characters sing it as they're deciding to go to the Sound, which is around where Michael Pritchard, Burt Reynolds' character, lives, and as they kind of get to know each other. The next song is the titular song, At Long Last Love, and almost everybody sings this. Eileen Brennan and John Hillerman, who's Rodney, and Beth are not in this song, but the four main romantic leads are in it. Kitty, Michael, Brooke, and Johnny. So, and this song originated in You Never Know, which was a musical from 1939. And here's the description of this one. And I don't think I've read this one yet, so you may be in for another bumpy ride here, although I don't think it could be as weird as Du Barry Was a Lady. Alright, here we go. This is from Wikipedia again. Maria, maid to Madame Baltin, impersonates her mistress while carrying out an assignation with the Baron de Romer's valet, Gaston, whom she believes to be the Baron himself. The Baron discovers the pair, but, being a good sport, he assumes the role of his servant in order to assist Gaston in his romantic pursuit. When Madame Baltin discovers her maid's deceit, she is less of a good sport and exposes the masquerade. All ends happily, though, as the foursome sup by candlelight. Other characters include the Baron's gregarious friend Ida Courtney and Madame Baltin's cheating husband Henri, the dry goods king of France. So what I'm getting from this so far is that Cole Porter likes romantic, not even triangles, but like quadrangles, pentagons, and France. France seems to pop up a lot. And so, in At Long Last Love, the song, basically all of the characters are kind of singing about each other and kind of seeing if they could actually be in love with each other or whether this is just something false that is going to dissipate. They use a lot of comparisons where they say, like, is this something real or is this just, like, something basically that's going to be, like, a pipe dream, basically. Or if you're Stieg Larsson, the air castle that blew up, which was the original name for the girl who kicks the hornet's nest. That's an in-joke for anyone who knows Swedish. I don't know Swedish, but if you know Swedish, you probably know it in Swedish. The next song, which is one of my personal favorites because I love John Hillerman in this movie. I love John Hillerman in general. I need to see him in more stuff. But this is the song, But in the Morning No, which is Rodney and Beth's song. It's not exactly their love song because Beth is basically hitting on Rodney, and Rodney is kind of telling her off, like saying that he's not interested. But it's kind of a little bit playful because he's saying, like, I don't do any of this stuff in the morning, I like to sleep. And she kind of will ask if he does certain stuff, and it kind of gets more and more suggestive as the song goes on. John Hillerman has a really good voice, which was it was surprising to me that he didn't seem to have a background in, like, Broadway or anything like that. So it seems like he never necessarily sung again in anything else, but he did a really good job. Eileen Brennan, I think, did have a little bit more of a background in things like Broadway, if I remember correctly from... I'm currently reading a book called Being the Music, Madeline Kahn, and there is some discussion of the friendship that Eileen Brennan and Madeline Kahn had on the set. And I believe that part of that was that Eileen Brennan also had a stage background as well. And this song is also from Du Barry Was a Lady, and we already talked about that crazy plot, so I'm not going back through that again. The next song, which is one of my personal favorites, is Well Did You Ever, EVAH, exclamation point, which is also from Du Barry Was a Lady, and almost everyone sings in this song as well. In fact, they have a couple little guest spots in here as well, although Rodney and Beth are not in this song. It's only the 4 romantic leads, and then Michael's mother also does a little part. There's various other characters who kind of come into play. The most well-known version of this song is from High Society with Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby. This is usually the version that people think of with this song, but it actually, like I said, originated in Du Barry Was a Lady, along with a lot of these other songs. And this is the song where it starts out with our main couples together with Michael and Kitty and Brooke and Johnny, but by the end of the song, Michael and Brooke have gotten together to the dismay of Johnny and Kitty, who kind of decide they've got to do something about all this because now their partners have partnered off with each other. And so this leads Kitty and Johnny to decide to go back in a limo together because they're frustrated at their partners. And they sing a song called From Alpha to Omega, which is also from You Never Know. And this is basically their kind of love ballad together. They do a little dance, you know, it's a nice showcase of Madeline Kahn's dancing and singing ability. And so it's a fun little song. This one is another one that I wasn't familiar with before I saw the show. So that's From Alpha to Omega. And then we're going to see where our other 2 leads are in the next song. So anyway, meanwhile, back at Michael's house, we've got Michael and Brooke, who have now fallen for each other as well. And so this section is long. So basically we start with the song Let's Misbehave, which was from a musical called Paris, which we're going to talk about in a moment, but it wasn't used in Paris, it was written for Paris, however. It is actually used in Anything Goes at some time, instead of using some other songs that are in the normal rundown. I believe they used Let's Misbehave for Evelyn and Reno. Where they usually don't have like a love ballad, it's usually just Evelyn's song, so they change it to more of a back and forth in that song. Then we go from Let's Misbehave into It's Still Lovely, which is originally from Red, Hot and Blue, which we talked about previously, and that's also best known from being used as Billy's song to Hope in Anything Goes, I'm sorry. And then we go into a reprise of But in the Morning No, and then we come back to It's Still Lovely, and then we end with Let's Misbehave again. So this is a long sequence of the long medley of songs that we start with Michael and Brooke. Okay, then next up we have a medley, and this medley mainly consists of Let's Misbehave and It's Still Lovely, but also includes a little cut over to Rodney and Beth for a reprise of But in the Morning No, but we already talked about that song, so let's just talk about Let's Misbehave and It's Still Lovely. So Let's Misbehave was originally an unused song from the musical Paris in 1927, and It's Still Lovely originally appeared in Red, Hot and Blue, but was then reused as Billy and Hope's love song in Anything Goes. And so this is the plot line of Paris, as per Wikipedia, as per usual. Mrs. Cora Sabot is a domineering and haughty society matriarch who lives in Massachusetts. Her son Andrew plans on marrying the famous French stage actress Vivienne Roland. Mrs. Sabot goes to Paris and decides that the actress is not of the caliber she wishes for her son, and therefore intends to stop the marriage. There she feigns drunkenness and fakes falling under the romantic influence of Guy Pennell, Vivienne's stage partner. However, she actually does become drunk and is comically transformed into a passionate woman. Mrs. Sabot's scheme works, and Vivienne realizes that she and Guy are meant to be romantic partners in life as well as on the stage. Andrew, meanwhile, understands that Brenda Kelly, as slow and obtuse as she is, will make the perfect wife. So, yeah, Let's Misbehave was not actually used in Paris, it was written for it, but then it does appear in some versions of Anything Goes as a song between Evelyn and Reno, in a scene that in other versions of Anything Goes is just a dialogue scene and doesn't have any songs in it. And this song medley, in At Long Last Love, kind of chronicles the love between Brooke and Michael now that they've become infatuated with each other. And Michael is a little reluctant, but Brooke definitely wants Michael to kind of fall in love with her, and so she's fallen in love with him, whereas he's a little more, he's kind of unsure whether he wants to be with Brooke or with Kitty. And so that's the medley, and then of course, like I said, we go back to Rodney and Beth, because Beth is still trying to get with Rodney, and Rodney's still not quite so sure about it. Next up is Just One of Those Things, and that song is sung by almost everybody. Rodney and Beth are not in it, but everyone else is. Kitty and Michael and Johnny and Brooke. And this song is originally from The New Yorkers, which was a 1930s musical, and this is the blurb for that from Wikipedia. Wealthy New York socialite Alice Wentworth has a romantic interlude with Al Spanish. I wonder if this is the origin of Johnny Spanish's name. Maybe. A nightclub owner and bootlegger. During their time together, they escape from the police and go to the bootlegging factory, among other adventures. Jimmy Deegan and his buddies Ronald and Oscar aid in their escapades, invent a new alcoholic drink, Murder Feet McGeehan, I'm not sure who that is, but I'm sure it makes sense in context, and assist with the gangland wedding of Al and Alice, while offering tributes to money, wood, and the hot patata, Jokes and songs about alcohol and how far people will go to get it, such as Drinking Song and Say It With Gin, reflect the musical's origin from the Prohibition period. So, something to make the Burt Reynolds connection. Maybe this was a little bit the forerunning idea for Smokey and the Bandit, which, after all, Hal Needham wrote after finding out that one of his workers in his house kept stealing quarters out of his fridge. So that's just one of those things. Then after that, because Just One of Those Things is a song where Michael is breaking up with Brooke and Kitty and Johnny are breaking up. So Brooke is upset because she's fallen in love with Michael, but Michael kind of thinks he should be back with Kitty, and Brooke sings a sad version of I Get a Kick Out of You while reading a newspaper, and this originated in Anything Goes, which we previously discussed. After that, Brooke, Kitty, and Beth get together and they have a song all together where they mourn that the men in their lives are dumb, basically. And this is called Most Gentlemen Don't Like Love, and they have a dance scene and everything there. That is originally from Leave It to Me. And then Brooke and Kitty sing I Loved Him But He Didn't Love Me, which is from Wake Up and Dream, which I believe we previously discussed as well. And the last song in the show is A Picture of Me Without You, which is almost everybody again. Rodney and Beth have, I believe, a reprise of But in the Morning No instead of this song, but they do get together during this song. And during this song, the original couples all get back together. So Michael ends up back with Brooke, Michael ends up back with Kitty, and Brooke ends up back with Johnny. And this is originally from a 1935 musical called Jubilee. And the plot of that is, when an impending revolution threatens their regime, the royal family decides to abandon obligations and pursue their private dreams. The king meets party hostess Ava Standing, the queen becomes enamored of swimmer-turned-actor Charles Rossmiller, the prince pursues singer Karen O'Kane, and the princess is wooed by playwright, composer, actor Eric Dare. When the hostile uprising proves to be a hoax, the four return to power, bringing with them the commoners who have taught them some important life lessons. Seeing that Cole Porter has a lot of themes here. A lot of royal families, wealthy shenanigans, and whatnot. Anyway, so that's the last song in the actual show, but there's a song that was cut from the version of the movie that's available on Blu-ray, and I believe the version that was shown in theaters, which was only in there for this TV edition. They have it on YouTube. The quality is not great, but it is interesting to see it if you're interested. And that's this show called Etiquette that's also from Do Barry Was a Lady, and it's a song between Brooke and Beth. That's the only song they have together in the show, and so that's also the only song that everything wasn't recorded live. Parts of it were recorded live, but then they also looped in vocals as well. So I don't know if that's part of the reason why it was cut from the definitive edition of At Long Last Love, or if Bogdanovich just decided he didn't want it in there anymore, or any other host of reasons. Or maybe the quality wasn't great on that piece of it. When they did the restoration, because the restoration looks great. I just want to close in saying, if you stuck this long to hear about this show and all the origins and everything that kind of came together to make this great movie, you should probably go check it out. It's a little harder to get on Blu-ray. In the past, it was on Netflix at one point, so who knows, it may return there as well. But I'd say if you get the chance to check it out, I would definitely recommend it. There's a version that's on YouTube, but it's not the full movie, so I would say if you can get the full movie, you're going to get it better quality, you're going to get the complete movie, and I guess the only person involved with it who's still living from the cast is Cybil Shepherd, but I'm sure, she would appreciate the residuals. I like Cybil. We all like Cybil. Yeah, let's help Cybil out. And, the estate of Bogdanovich as well. R.I.P. I took so long to make this video that he died, as I said, in the middle of me making it. So, if you see this, even if you can't find At Long Last Love, go check out a Peter Bogdanovich movie. A lot of his stuff is streaming on various different platforms. Go check it out, see what you think. He's also in The Sopranos, which is where I initially knew him from, so it was weird to kind of see him as an actor first and then have to kind of double back and be like, oh wait, but he's mainly a director? What? Anyway, I think that I've talked everyone's ear off, so I'm just going to end with, go check out At Long Last Love, or some clips from it that are floating around. It's a great movie. A lot of people, kind of talked it down at the time it was released, but they were all wrong. If you like musical comedies, if you like Cole Porter, if you like Burt Reynolds, if you like Cybil Shepherd, if you like Madeline Kahn, if you're from Italy and you like Duello de Pret, because most of his stuff was just in Italian, go for it. Arrivederci. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up with that. Go watch it, and I'll be back with another video. I don't know what it'll be about. I have some ideas, but I'm not gonna promise anything because we'll see how it goes. Bye, everybody.